welcome to another episode of Grab Coffee with Me, sponsored by Dowden Golf Solutions. You see the gentleman on the screen, Chris McDaniel, drinking his coffee. What coffee are you drinking today, Chris? And where are you located, actually?
Well, I'm currently in Greenville, South Carolina, and I'm literally just drinking black bold coffee
There we
with
go.
nothing in it.
It-
Hardcore.
it's funny because I think the majority of my guests just drink black coffee. I'm the only frou-frou one, I guess. I love lattes. I love caramel. I love color in my drink. I don't do the matcha though. I can't.
Yeah,
It tastes like sweet dirt to me. I can't do that with
yeah,
me.
I always use the word chalk when I hear the
Yeah,
the term macho.
yeah.
But occasionally I do what you talked about, but I think this is good for when your metabolism starts to slow down quite a bit. Yeah. So drinking black coffee really prevents any kind of weight gain.
I'll get there soon. But let me finish with my introduction. Well, you're the VP of Sales and Partner at VTech IO, right? And you are a loving husband and also father. And I feel as if you do so much because I follow you on social media. I follow your LinkedIn page. So tell us about Chris McDaniel.
Yeah. Well, I 31 years of marriage to my soulmate, and two grown kids. My daughter's 28, my son is 26, both married. First grandchild a year and a half ago, Weston, and just found out we have another new miracle coming on the way. So we're expecting our second grandchild should be due in the early next year. I'm excited about that. But yeah, so for me, man of faith, man of family, and try to really apply that in the business side. I've always loved tech. Since I was a young kid, I had a third grade teacher that really just took a risk, I think, in that day and age. It was the early 80s. She purchased a bunch of Apple IIe computers for the classroom and spent a lot of time focusing on tech. I ended up creating a computer program in third grade, and but it was because of her, inspiration and her leadership there to get the tech mind going. And ever since third grade, I've always loved tech, and now I just get to sell it and be a part of helping organizations, transform their journey through technology. So I love innovation, a lot of things, but yeah, I think that kind of sums it up: family and tech and faith. That's a good. That's a big three right
There
there.
you go. Family, faith, and technology. Now,
Yeah.
before we dive into more of that, what is your go-to coffee order when you're at a new coffee shop?
Okay. So it isn't black coffee. My go-to order would be an iced latte with coconut milk and a
Okay.
splash of cinnamon. What do you
Okay.
think of that?
I like that. I like that. You're making me feel better about myself. How about that? And what is your favorite either coffee shop or your favorite coffee memory?
My favorite coffee memory would be coffee with my daughter. Her and I get to do coffee from time to time, just her and I hanging out. And she always picks these amazing coffee shops. They're like, I don't know, they must have an app or something, but
Yeah.
she's got this criteria, for these coffee shops, and wherever she's at and wherever I'm at with her drinking coffee, that's my favorite memory.
Yeah. Yeah. Same
Yeah.
here. My daughter and I, we do the same. One day we
Yeah.
need to get together, right?
Yeah. We
Because
should, four
she's
of
yeah,
us.
yeah. For her, faith, family, and tech, for us as
That's it.
well. We can have
Awesome.
we're gonna have a great time. And it's funny because I far very often I talk to people that change careers, but you seem as if technology from the very beginning. So talk about that journey from third grade to now being a partner and the VP of sales there at VTech IO.
Yeah. I would say that, so that third grade experience really got me into what I would call innovation. And we all know that innovation comes mainly through tech, right? There's a lot of innovation happening through tech. And I've had a few career changes, but tech has always been that constant thread through that. So first started in the military. I just retired after 31 years of service in June. I did 8 years active duty and 24 reserve, but I was doing very high tech there, but more on the defense side, on the aircraft, primarily. The F-16 was one of my favorite assignments, and working on tech there. But so there was a lot of tech and project management on the DoD side. Then when I exited the military full time, I got into, I did helped open up a vocational training school in a territory that was not diversified economically. So they were looking to retain their youth instead of them leaving after graduation. So helped start a vocational training academy that was eventually got accredited with the university. And we were offering, back then it was innovative to be able to provide customized classroom training instead of coming all the time. You could learn at your own pace and actually get credit. So I did that for several years, as well as helped start a business incubator where we were recruiting tech industries to come and actually relocate into that region. And so they were sort of co-located with the vocational trek school. So we train them and then we turn around and employ them with the businesses that we were able to recruit into that region. But then after that, I got into full-time ministry doing international missions. And in that role, I was a business, finance, and development being fundraising, but IT always falls under that business realm. So I spent a lot of time supporting innovation and tech for the nonprofit side. When you're out in a country where there's no limited access and limited tools, it takes a lot of creativity using tech to be able to communicate and to get things done. So that really stretched me, learning how to leverage tech in multiple. We were in over, 100 countries as an organization, so the experiences were quite vast. But actually, and then when I came to VTech, I was actually looking for another job, being recruited for another job. And it was at that meeting that I met my current boss, my current CEO. He happened to sit right next to me. It was kind of funny and providential. But as this other individual was recruiting me for a role, I ended up meeting David Peterson and just was really intrigued by the idea of, I've always done tech, but never sold it. I was intrigued by the idea of getting into the sales side of it and started as a field seller. It's like, bottom of the rung here and had to prove myself. My CEO knew that I had leadership skills, but knew that I wasn't experienced in this, market. So he wanted to give me a year and a half or two to kind of cut my teeth on actually doing the job. And then shortly after that, I think I was the top producer by year two, and then took the VP role and then began, growing VTech to be what it is today. So that's a good summary, I guess.
A great path. What
Yeah.
challenges along the way did you face, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think we all have a fuel. There's a fuel for entrepreneurs, right? There's something deep within us that drives the things that we do, the way that we operate. I guess we're content but never satisfied. I've always thought about it, life being that way. I can be content where I'm at, but I'm never satisfied. And I think for me early on, it was a lot of naysayers, to be honest with you. If you research my history and where I came from an uneducated family, no formal education, not a lot of business success, and just a very conservative, I'd say middle income kind of family. As I began to kind of break out into some of the entrepreneurship and business stuff, there were a lot of people around me that doubted the possibilities. I remember when I was an enlisted troop and someone told me I was not officer material. And then, now I retire as a lieutenant colonel. But I think the challenges for me have been, you know, if you if you're gonna have the guts to tell me I can't do something, watch out. I think that's the way I've always approached it, and I think you're similar that way, because I've seen your drive. And it's not just the naysayers, but I would tell you that it's funny because I think you can do things, right? You have this, it's not arrogance, but it's a confidence about what you can accomplish. And when people come to you with that type of verbiage, you have a couple ways to respond. For me, it's always been just watch and see, and I think that's been a big one, the challenges of overcoming, I guess, head trash and people providing that head trash or even the head trash in your own mind, where there's maybe some days where you actually might start to even wonder if that's true, right? But then you got to lock it down and stay disciplined and keep your mindset. So I think that's been one consistent challenge throughout my life.
So what motivates you now though? Because those naysayers go away, all right? They because your
Yeah.
success is
Yeah.
there. What motivates you now in the world of business?
That's funny. I think that you're right. It shifts. You know what I mean? So you kind of get into this maturity point where you've made it and you're finally like, okay, I don't need to worry about that anymore. The naysayers. I think for me now, it really is seeing businesses embrace innovation. I really have a strong passion when their eyes are opened and they see how they can do things in a different way or maybe a new way, a more efficient way, maybe a more cost effective way, and transform their industry. And so for me, over the last year and a half, it's been this AI journey and how AI has really begun to disrupt the marketplace. That's just an area of focus right now because it is very disruptive. And so for me, I'm very passionate about how AI is transforming work every day and companies and how they service their customers or do their job.
Yeah. It's funny because I was going to ask about the trends and changes that you were most excited about in your industry, and of course, it's going to be AI if you're talking technology. So,
Yeah.
what are some of those current things that you're working on, or that your team, or your company's working on right now when it comes from an AI standpoint?
Yeah, I think the fundamental thing for AI is you can't take people to a place you haven't gone yourself. And so early on, for us, it was actually leveraging and utilizing AI internally as a company and as staff, so that we could begin to create our own stories and understand it well enough to share that and communicate with what's possible. So, been a lot of learning. Been going back to school and figuring this out and consistently. Um, new things happening every day, staying on top of that. But what we're really four key areas we're really helping customers and businesses with. One of those big areas is the security component of AI, which is a huge conversation right now, how to be secure and do it securely. Number two, how do you unleash the end user, your average worker, to leverage AI in a way that makes them maybe 20, 30, 40% more productive in their day to day. NVIDIA has the CEO talks about how you will not lose your job in 18 months to AI, but you'll lose your job to someone who knows how to use AI in 18 months. And so we're really passionate about getting every person equipped to leverage AI and then AI for customers. So what can you do to serve your customer base or transform your industry in a way that gives you a leap. Maybe you now leapfrog that competitor because you've leveraged AI. And then internal processes, the operations side of business every day. You and I both know that so many systems have to be interacted with, whether it's finance, HR, sales, CRMs, all of these platforms. How can you leverage AI to streamline or even help you make business decisions intelligently, get counsel for business decisions or internal processes? And so those are the four areas we're really trying to help customers leverage, get into, and we're encouraging them to be bold and not wait. Let's to start the process now because you're going to have to go through the same trajectory because it is a complex area. It's much like when the internet came out, and I'm sure I don't know if you're old enough, but I remember when the internet first came out, and
I'm
you know
old, Chris. I'm
yeah,
old.
yeah. Well, there were businesses, that kept debating, should we get a website? Should we have a remember, there were those days when the people were still asking that question. And now ask a business today, do they have a website? And the answer is yes, we do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like,
And
why
I
are you even
think that
asking?
AI is take that same trajectory and it's going to be much quicker though. It's going to be much faster. And if you're hesitating, then you will be behind. And we don't want our customers to be behind. We want them to be on the bleeding edge of that. So yeah.
So we talked about your journey, right? Starting with VTech IO, bottom of the barrel, so to speak, when it comes to sales. Now being a
Yeah.
VP of sales, what one piece of advice you'll give others going through that process now, that path?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the number one word of advice I would say is make the development of people in your staff the number one priority every day. And if you are so committed to the success of your staff, it's really interesting how that recipe just works out. And I think there's some leaders that get up every day focused on their goals, their priorities, the things that they want to do and achieve. And then I think there's leaders that wake up every day and go, what can I do to help other people achieve their goals and dreams? And I would say that if you make your priority your staff and your team, then success just seems to come. And especially if you do it intentionally, constantly, and then you begin to train others to be able to have that same mindset. And so in doing so, now you've replicated yourself in leadership development, not just sales. And then once you see two, three, four people, five people get that idea of, wait, I'm not here just for myself. I'm here to help others succeed. It starts to compound tremendously and the impact the business in a big way. So that would be my guidance.
That's perfect. We met through your golf tournament. us being a vendor
Yes.
at your golf tournament very early on, maybe 6, 7 years ago now.
Yeah, I think it was
The
actually.
VTech
Yeah.
IO Dell Benefit Golf Tournament, which is coming up
That's it.
again in December, right?
Yep. December 8th.
Always seems to be sold out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
How can my audience, if they can, but how can my audience get involved in that tournament? And what does that tournament benefit? So it's a two-part
Great.
question.
Great. That's a great question. So this year we are excited to partner with an organization called My Warriors Place. And My Warriors Place provides a resting place, a place for debriefing, counseling, healing for Gold Star families or combat veterans based out of Ruskin, Florida, believe it or not, just right down the road. They're serving around 10,000 individuals a year, which is incredible. And just helping provide support. And Kelly, the founder, she lost her son in Afghanistan, and he was young, and she chose to take her pain and use it for purpose. And once we learned about her and that mission, we decided that we're going to come alongside that this year. We're going to be at Innisbrook Copperhead, wonderful course, that, one of the best. And if anybody wants to be a part of that, they can just go to vtechio.com, and we have a link in our events page there that they can sign up for that. And your partnership will well, it's a great course, it's a great cause, and there's great people, and, there will be at least 144 players, obviously, there, sometimes more, and, we love having Dowd and Golf Solutions there. I mean, that if anything, you embody that innovation, and that tech component right there on the golf course, you always have, and that's why you and I connected early on, and then I've seen you go from what you were to what you are today. It's even greater, more innovation, more impact, and it just makes an experience on a course like that really, really amazing. One of the highlights of every person that comes to our course outside of the cause is your hole. You're
Yeah,
usually at hole 10 making
all
it
10.
happen, and people love it. They just rave about it. Everybody likes to watch videos of themselves, so that's
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
greatest tools. Especially when you let us redo when we really had a bad shot. I love it when you do. Hey, Ian, can we get a redo on that shot?
We don't want you to go home mad with us. Go ahead and tee it up and hit again. Leave us with a gem, word of wisdom.
I would say, humility is a wonderful thing to pursue as a leader. And I think it's a constant pursuit. And I don't think, I've heard this quote, humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. And I think that if we wake up every day as leaders and entrepreneurs with that mindset, it's an amazing purpose. It's one to fight for. And I don't know about you, but when I meet leaders like that, I want to hang out with them. I want to be around them. And so I think that strive for humility, keep working to achieve that in your life or to discover that in however you can. It's amazing what comes out of that, what comes from that pursuit of humility.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for joining.
You bet.
Grab coffee with me, faith, family, and
Yes.
technology. I'd love to end kind of like with some words of wisdom. Trying to figure out what to say today, but it always for me, it boils down to the same thing. We're more like than different. You know,
Yes.
embrace it. Whether that's in life, whether that's in business. For me, it doesn't change, and we see that in the relationship that we have. So
I agree to that. I agree.
thanks
We are
again.
a lot alike.
Yeah,
And I love what you're doing, and I love watching your growth, and keep up the great work, and God bless you.
same to you, Chris.
Yeah. You bet.